I almost threw this card away because I used the wrong embossing powder. But what happened when I fixed it completely changed the design. In today's card making video, I'll show you how re-inking embossed images and then re-embossing them can actually add more shine, dimension, and depth than the original plan, and why this mistake turned into my favorite part of the card. Let's get started. I'm using the ASCardDesign's Divine Rose layering stencil for my focal image, and I love layering stencils. They're just so fun to work with, but you'll notice that I'm pointing out there the numbered layers of the stencil, so that's very helpful. And I do have the coordinating die that I will be using today. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out 2 pieces, and I'll do that off camera, and I'll be right back. I've cut out 2 pieces. One we will be stenciling on, and the other one will just be used as an extra layer for dimension. So I'm using my Gina K Double Background 1 Grip Mat, and I put my die cut piece on, and I'm lining up layer number 1 on the stencil. They're very easy to line up. So I'm using blues and greens today. We're going to use Blue Sky and Blue Lagoon from Gina K. And I will just get out my blending brush and I'll show you just putting on some color. It's really easy to blend these layering stencils. And so I'm just adding the color very softly and very lightly, and I'm building on the color. I'm not going in with too heavy of a hand at first, because you can always add color. So we're just putting on the Blue Sky. It's a very vibrant, very beautiful color. And then I am going to peel this stencil, the layer 1, off, because we're going to use the Blue Lagoon on layer number 2. And off screen I will clean my stencils with just some spray rubbing alcohol and paper towel. So here's stencil number 2, and I'm lining that up and just sticking that down to the mat. And then we'll swap out the inks and go in with the Blue Lagoon. Same blending brush. Since it's the blue color family, we don't need to change out the brushes. So I'm just going in a circular motion, again with a light hand, both directions, and we're getting all the pieces on this stencil inked up. And again, I'll peel off the stencil and clean that. In between each color, each layer, I will clean my stencils off with the rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. And there, I'm just showing you my bottle of rubbing alcohol. So for the greens, we have medium and light spruce. I love the spruces, and we're going to put down layer number 3 and just lining up the leaves. And now I'm pointing out on this layer of this stencil, the veins of the leaves, those little pieces of stencil are very delicate. So if you're using the stencil, just go on to it with a very light hand, and not even so much in a circular motion. When you're on those veins, just kind of rub over them and get the color down. Just go light at first and just keep building the color till you get it to the depth that you want it. And then just, that's my advice on this. Just be very careful, because you don't want to bend those veins, because then the color will get underneath it and then you'll lose that definition. And then just peel that off. And isn't this a beautiful stencil? That flower is just gorgeous. The color possibilities, endless. All right, so layer number 4, we're going in with the medium spruce, and we're just going to add some definition or some dimension to these leaves. Make them look a little more realistic. And stick with me, because this project is about to go south here, because I make a big mistake coming up. But anyway, so I'm just picking this up to kind of check it out, and I do love all the colors. And so I'm trying to think what I do next. Oh, so I'm putting back on layer number 3, and this is where I'm bringing in a makeup pouncer. I just got this at the dollar store. It's just like a little sponge dauber, and I am going to daub on some Gina K watermark and embossing ink over layer number 3, just on those accent pieces of the leaves. And then I'm just going to peel that off, because we're going to do some heat embossing next. So I'm bringing in what I thought was holographic embossing powder, but it was clear embossing powder. So I'm dumping the powder, and right about now, and I edited this out because I had a long pause. I realized I have the wrong embossing powder, and I was going to throw this project away. And I thought, no, I'm going to just dump the powder on, then I'm going to bring in the correct powder, which is right here, the holographic powder, and dump it right on top. And I'm going to see what happens. And so I kind of double powdered this up, and I'm getting my old clothespin and heat embossing this and just seeing what happens. What I wanted to happen was I wanted these embossed areas to be very sparkly, and for some reason it wasn't, even with dumping the holographic embossing powder on top. So I embossed it and it was shiny, but it was just green shiny. So I thought, well, while it's still wet and not cool yet, I'll dump the holographic powder on again. I wasn't giving up on this. And so I heat set it, and it still was not the result I wanted. You know, it has the shine, but I wanted the glitter. So here I thought I'm going to put the stencil back on over top of the heat embossed areas, re-ink it, and put the holographic powder back on. This has a lot of dimension now and a lot of depth, but this was the effect I wanted. And it was a happy accident, because in the end, I had such a nice built up layer of embossing powders that it added a lot of depth to the project. I really liked it. So here you can see the powder is melting. And in just a second, I will show you all that glittery goodness. And that is what I wanted at the very beginning. So had I done it the correct way, I probably could have saved myself about 5 to maybe 10 minutes. But there is the glitter shine that you can see. And I just loved it. It really came out nice. I will have all the supplies that I'm using listed in the description below if you're interested. So I'm bringing in Master Layouts 2. I have a cut panel, and we're going to ink blend on the panel, because this is where we will glue that beautiful floral image. So I'm using the same blue inks, and I'm just focusing on that left edge and bottom edge. And I'm just putting the color down, and I'm going to bring it up into the card kind of on an angle. So I want the top right of the card to still be white, and I'm just going to bring in the color from the bottom left upward. And then we'll bring in the blue lagoon and do the same. Just add a little bit darker layer towards the bottom and the left edge. And I really like doing this. This technique works really great if you're using silhouette stamps. But here I'm going to I was thinking, okay, that looks kind of plain. What else can I do? So here I've decided I'm going to check out the panel and see where I am. And there you can kind of see the soft hues of blue. But I felt like it needed something else, so I'm bringing out the splat box and the Simon Says Stamp Positively Perfect Gold Splatter Medium. This product is just great, and you don't need a lot. I'm just loading up a dry brown brush and tapping it, and that's all there is to it. And I have instant little splatters of gold goodness, so I really like how that came out. But right about now, I'm thinking I made another mistake. It really wasn't a mistake, but I'm kind of assessing, I should have put that gold splatter on the rose. So there you go. We're splattering the rose. And I'm really glad I did it, because I love the way it just tied it all together. It just didn't make sense to have the rose sitting on top of the splatter to me, and it was nice and clean. It needed a little something extra, and that splatter did the trick. And so here you can see the embossing and just some subtle ink splatters on it. All right, so I'm just going to set this aside to dry a little bit, clean up everything, and then I'm bringing in the Tall Stems stamp set from Gina K. I love this little stamp set, but I'm using the greeting there that says, "You make my life better," and I die cut it out with Master Layouts 18, that die right there that I'm pointing out. And I did die cut that twice to build up, glue the two pieces together, just like I'm doing here with the flowered. I like to do that instead of using foam tape. It's a great way to add some dimension. And now it's just time to put this card together. I want to thank you for watching. It's been kind of a ride, but it came out great in the end. You'll see some pictures of the card at the end of this video. and just adding it to a black matte layer and then to my card base. And wait for it. You'll get your smile right here. My little way of saying thank you for watching. And we'll just get that right onto the base, and then we will go ahead and attach our beautiful flower. And you know, when I'm crafting, and if you make cards, you probably do the same thing. As you're putting the final card together at the end, you're thinking, is it really done? Maybe not. So you might add something else, and that is exactly what I do after I get this glued down. So hang on, we're not quite done yet. But I'm just lining that up in that bottom left corner. I love this die cut so much because it's great. This is a US A2 size card. It just fits great in that corner tucked away. If you're making a 5x7, you can make 2 of those die cut images and line them up in each corner, opposing corners, and that would look really nice. I'm putting my mini misty on top of that just so the glue adheres. And now I have my sentiment strip, and we will glue that down. And the way I stamped this and when I die cut it, if you notice on the right, there's a lot of white space, and I'm going to show you how I fix that too. I have a lot of little mishaps in this card, but it all worked out. You just keep pushing through and figuring it out. So I'm bringing in these iridescent dots from Gina K. These are really nice. They're kind of like confetti colors, but they're flat. They're totally flat, so they will not interfere with mailing, and they're shiny. So they're really cool. And there's a lot in the pack, so a little bit goes a long way. But I'm just lining a few up here, and I'm going to just add a little glue dot and stick that right back down because they're not self-adhesive. You do have to glue these down. And it just really finished off the card. And I added a little one right there just to kind of fill in that white space that's kind of hanging out there in right field, just because the die cut was a little bit longer than the sentiment. But there you go. I love the way this card came out, and I love the leaves and all that good sparkle on there. And you can see those iridescent dots, how they have a nice little shimmer and shine. So I want to thank you so much for spending some time here with me today. If you liked the video, and I really hope you did, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, do subscribe. We are trying to build this channel up to 1,000 subscribers. When that happens, my brother will make a card. So stick around. I'll put another link to a video at the end here that I think you might enjoy. And until next time, have a peaceful day, and I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.